If you feel tingling in your feet late at night, if your hands go numb without warning, or if you experience burning, stabbing, or electric-like pain that no one has been able to clearly explain, stay with me for the next few minutes. What you're about to hear may finally reveal why your nerves are under attack and, more importantly, how to stop the damage before it becomes permanent. This is not about masking pain. This is about protecting your nerves while you still have the chance. Let me make you a clear promise right now. By the end of this video, you will understand the single most dangerous poison silently damaging seniors' nerves today. A poison millions of people are exposed to every single day without realizing it. You'll know exactly what puts you at risk and what needs to change immediately, not someday. I'm Dr. Adriana Nurse. For decades, I've worked with older adults suffering from nerve pain, numbness, burning feet, balance problems, and a condition many are told they simply have to accept: neuropathy. And one of the most frustrating patterns I see is how often people are given the wrong explanation for why their nerves are failing. They're told it's age, they're told it's genetics, they're told it's inevitable. In many cases, none of that is true. So, let me ask you something important. Have you noticed tingling, numbness, or burning in your hands or feet? And were you ever told your blood sugar is a little high but not high enough to be a serious concern? If so, that detail matters more than you may realize. Awareness is the first line of defense, because once nerve damage crosses a certain threshold, we don't get unlimited chances to undo it. Let me tell you about a patient I'll call Frank. Frank was 68, recently retired and still active, but every night his feet burned. During the day, his toes felt numb. Occasionally, sharp electric pains shot through his legs without warning. He was told it was probably aging, maybe circulation issues, maybe just something he'd have to live with. But when we looked deeper, we uncovered something else. A daily exposure, something Frank believed was harmless, was quietly poisoning his nerves. When we removed it, the damage didn't reverse overnight, but it stopped getting worse, and that changed everything for him. Here's the question you need to hold on to. What was that poison? And how many seniors are unknowingly feeding it every single day? To understand the answer, you need to know something fundamental about nerves. Nerves are living tissue. They are not wires. They rely on oxygen, nutrients, and stable internal chemistry to function properly. Unlike skin or muscle, nerves heal very slowly. That means damage accumulates quietly over time. Long before you feel pain, tingling, or numbness, your nerves may already be under attack. And here's where things become uncomfortable. The most dangerous poison damaging seniors' nerves is not some rare industrial chemical. It's not heavy metals. It's not even alcohol by itself. The most destructive poison is something far more common, something many seniors are actually encouraged to consume regularly. The most dangerous poison harming your nerves is chronic blood sugar toxicity. And this is critical to understand. You do not need to have diabetes for blood sugar to damage your nerves. You only need repeated spikes. Millions of seniors experience these spikes every day without knowing it. When blood sugar rises too high, sugar molecules attach to nerve fibers and the tiny blood vessels that feed them. This creates inflammation, oxidative stress, and damage to the protective coating around nerves. Over time, nerves lose their ability to transmit clean signals. That's when tingling appears, then numbness, then burning, then pain, then loss of balance. One of the biggest myths in senior health is that neuropathy appears suddenly. It doesn't. It develops silently, often over many years, while this poison works quietly in the background. Let me ask you something else. Have you ever been told you're pre-diabetic, borderline diabetic, or that your blood sugar is not ideal, but not terrible? That's often where nerve damage begins. Research now shows that prediabetes can damage nerves nearly as often as full diabetes. The difference is that most people with prediabetes don't even know they have it. This is where many people say, "But I eat healthy." Most of my patients believe that too, and that's the trap. The poison is not obvious. It hides inside foods and habits that sound healthy on the surface. Here's how it works. You eat something that spikes blood sugar. Your body releases insulin to move that sugar into cells. Over time, cells become resistant. Sugar stays in the bloodstream longer. The long nerves in your feet and hands are repeatedly exposed to toxic sugar levels. The tiny blood vessels feeding those nerves become damaged. Oxygen delivery drops, nerves slowly starve. Because this happens gradually, people don't connect the dots. They say it came out of nowhere when in reality it's been building for years. Now, here's another important question. If blood sugar toxicity is so damaging, why doesn't every senior with high blood sugar develop neuropathy? The answer lies in frequency, duration, and nerve resilience. Some nerves tolerate abuse longer than others, but once damage crosses a certain line, symptoms often accelerate quickly. And now we need to talk about where this poison comes from in everyday life. One major source is liquid sugar. Fruit juice, sweetened coffee drinks, sports drinks, even so-called healthy smoothies. Liquid sugar enters the bloodstream extremely fast because there's no fiber to slow it down. These sharp spikes directly harm nerves. Seniors are often told juice is easy nutrition. In reality, it's one of the fastest ways to damage nerve tissue. Another major source is refined carbohydrates eaten alone. Bread, cereal, crackers, rice, pasta, especially when consumed without protein or fat. These foods break down into sugar quickly. Seniors are often advised to eat foods that are easy to digest, but easy digestion often means rapid sugar release. That sugar has nowhere to go except into the bloodstream and onto nerve tissue. And one more factor many people overlook is constant snacking. When insulin stays elevated all day, nerves never get a recovery window. Constant exposure keeps them inflamed and vulnerable. There's also something else most people are never warned about. Certain medications can quietly worsen nerve damage by interfering with nutrient absorption, especially vitamin B12. Some acid-blocking medications, diabetes drugs, and cholesterol medications can slowly deplete B12 over time. B12 is essential for maintaining the protective coating around nerves. Without it, nerves become fragile and misfire. I've seen this many times, not because people were careless, but because no one warned them. Neuropathy is rarely caused by one single factor. It's usually a combination of blood sugar toxicity, inflammation, nutrient depletion, and reduced circulation. But blood sugar toxicity is the accelerant. It's what turns slow damage into rapid decline. And this matters because nerves have a tipping point. Early damage may cause mild tingling or numbness. Later damage leads to pain, balance problems, falls, and loss of independence. Once nerve cells die, regeneration becomes extremely difficult. That's why timing matters. The most important thing to understand is this. Neuropathy is not always reversible, but in many cases, it is preventable from getting worse. And that distinction matters more than most people realize. Slowing or stopping progression can mean less pain, better balance, improved sleep, and the ability to remain independent longer. So, if chronic blood sugar toxicity is the poison quietly damaging your nerves, the real question becomes this: what neutralizes it? What actually protects nerve tissue in real life, not in theory? This is where many people expect extreme answers. They expect complicated diets, expensive treatments, or miracle supplements. The truth is far simpler, which is exactly why it's so often ignored. The first and most important step in protecting your nerves is stabilizing blood sugar, not aggressively lowering it, not chasing perfect numbers, but keeping it steady. Nerves don't need perfection, they need consistency. Every sharp spike in blood sugar acts like a chemical burn to nerve tissue. Fewer spikes mean less damage. That alone can slow or even halt progression. Here is the single most important rule I teach seniors with neuropathy. It's a rule most people have never heard. Never eat carbohydrates by themselves. Not fruit, not bread, not cereal, not crackers. Carbohydrates eaten alone enter the bloodstream too quickly. Blood sugar rises sharply, insulin surges, and nerve repair shuts down. But when carbohydrates are eaten alongside protein or healthy fat, absorption slows dramatically. The same food that damages nerves when eaten alone becomes far safer when eaten correctly. This explains why some seniors develop severe neuropathy while others don't, even with similar diets. It's not always what you eat, it's how you eat it. Let me give you a real example. A man I'll call James, 74 years old, came to see me because his legs felt weak and unsteady by early afternoon. At night, his feet burned. During the day, his toes felt numb. He truly believed he was eating well. Every morning, he drank a fruit smoothie made with banana, mango, juice, and yogurt. What he didn't realize was that the liquid sugar entered his bloodstream before his nerves had any protection. We removed the smoothie, replaced breakfast with eggs and vegetables, and moved a small portion of fruit to later in the day, eaten after a full meal. Within weeks, his burning pain eased, his balance improved, his energy lasted longer into the day. Nothing magical happened. We simply stopped poisoning his nerves. The second critical step is eliminating liquid sugar entirely. No juice, no sweetened drinks, no smoothies. Even 100% natural juice is pure sugar without fiber. Fiber is what slows absorption and protects nerve tissue. Without it, sugar hits fast and hard. Seniors often drink juice because it's easy, gentle, and commonly recommended. Unfortunately, it's one of the fastest ways to worsen neuropathy. If you want fruit, eat it whole in small portions and never on an empty stomach. Fruit eaten after a meal is far safer than fruit eaten alone. The third step is nutrient protection, and this is essential. Nerves depend on specific nutrients to maintain their structure and function. One of the most important is vitamin B12. B12 helps maintain the protective coating around nerves called myelin. Without enough B12, nerves become exposed, fragile, and prone to misfiring. Many seniors are deficient in B12 without knowing it, especially those taking acid blockers or certain long-term medications. But B12 isn't the only nutrient nerves rely on. Magnesium supports nerve signaling and reduces cramping and twitching. Folate works alongside B12 to protect nerve tissue. Alpha-lipoic acid helps reduce oxidative stress inside nerves and has been shown to ease neuropathy symptoms in some people. But here's an important warning. More is not better. Some vitamins, especially high doses of B6, can actually worsen nerve damage if taken incorrectly. This is why guessing is dangerous. Testing and proper guidance matter. The fourth step is reducing chronic inflammation. Inflammation sensitizes nerves and amplifies pain signals. It turns mild irritation into burning or stabbing pain. Highly processed foods, excessive sugar, and refined seed oils all fuel inflammation. On the other hand, foods like fatty fish, olive oil, vegetables, and spices such as turmeric help calm inflammatory pathways. Less inflammation means quieter nerves. The fifth step is movement, but not the kind most people fear. You do not need intense exercise to protect nerves. In fact, extreme exercise can worsen symptoms. What nerves need is circulation. Gentle walking, especially after meals, helps lower blood sugar and improves blood flow to nerve tissue. Even 10 minutes can make a difference. Movement is medicine when it's done correctly. At this point, I want to address something important. Many seniors feel discouraged when they hear nerve damage heals slowly. That's true. Nerves regenerate very slowly, if at all. But stopping progression is just as powerful as reversing damage. Less pain, better sleep, improved balance, fewer falls. Those outcomes matter. One of the most harmful beliefs seniors are given is that nothing can be done. That belief itself becomes dangerous. I've seen people give up early only to worsen rapidly because the poison was never removed. Let me share one more story. A woman in her early 70s came to me using a cane. She felt unsteady and afraid of falling. She had been told her neuropathy was permanent. When we stabilized her blood sugar, corrected nutrient deficiencies, and removed liquid sugar from her diet, her nerve pain reduced enough that she no longer feared walking short distances. She didn't become pain-free, but she regained confidence, and that changed her life. Neuropathy isn't just about pain, it's about independence. It's about feeling the ground under your feet, reacting quickly, and trusting your body. Once neuropathy progresses too far, fall risk rises sharply, and falls are one of the greatest threats to senior health and longevity. That's why timing matters. Early nerve damage responds far better than advanced damage. Tingling and mild numbness are warnings, not verdicts. They are signals that something needs to change. So, here's a simple, practical plan for the next few weeks. Remove liquid sugar completely. Pair all carbohydrates with protein or healthy fat. Eat fruit only after meals and in small portions. Walk for 10 minutes after eating when possible. And if you haven't had your B12 levels checked, ask about it. Do not change medications on your own, but be aware of their potential impact on nutrients. Then observe what happens. Pay attention to your symptoms. Many seniors notice less burning at night, better sleep, and steadier balance. Even small improvements matter because they tell you the damage is not yet set in stone. I want to say this very clearly. Anyone promising a miracle cure for neuropathy is not being honest. But anyone telling you nothing can be done is also wrong. Real progress lives in the space between those extremes. Neuropathy is often the result of years of quiet damage. It makes sense that improvement takes time, but stopping the poison is always the first and most important.